This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. Debate begins on Wednesday on the government's 2021-2022 fiscal plan. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. Hubert Minnis, presented the 2021-2022 budget communication, Accelerating Recovery from Restoration to Growth, in the House of Assembly last Wednesday, and he is expected to reveal more of the plans to Bahamians tomorrow, designed to stimulate the economy. Dr. Minnis explained last week that the Accelerated Bahamas Recovery Plan is designed to strengthen the impact of much-needed COVID-19 related support, accelerate the re-engagement of displaced workers, stimulate domestic economy and commercial activity, extract greater value from the tourism sector, and accelerate the adoption of innovation and e-government technologies and services. The Prime Minister contends that the government's vision for the nation still remains the same. Well, on the heels of the budget debate, Democratic National Alliance leader Arinthia Komolafe says Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis delivered a budget padded with freebies, promises, and spending initiatives aimed at swaying voters ahead of the next general elections. She says the presentation was disjointed, unfocused, and painful to watch for many Bahamians. More importantly, the lack of vision and cogent plan was on full display.
Bahamians were left puzzled by the Prime Minister's continued praise of his government's prudence following a 60% increase in the value-added tax rate in 2018, which increased taxes on the Bahamian people to the tune of $500 million. It was embarrassing to watch the Prime Minister pat his administration on the back for its dismal performance in office over the last 4 years.
Mrs. Komolafe adds that the country is in a major economic crisis plagued by what she's labeling a leadership deficit.
The economy shrank by 14.5% in real terms and 24.7% in nominal terms in 2020. The projected fiscal deficit for 2021-2022 is $958 million. The national debt is almost $10 billion, and we are confronted with a debt to GDP ratio of approximately 100%. Over the last 10 years, government revenue and expenditure have increased by over $1 billion, respectively, at the expense of taxpayers, with very little to show for this in economic diversification and the creation of new industries.
She says the DNA is disappointed that the government is focused on securing voters rather than outlining a vision for the new Bahamas. Mrs. Komolafe says there was no major pronouncement on investments in agriculture and food security to make the country more resilient. Additionally, she says no comprehensive plan for the economic development of the country was articulated.
The government is projected to come short of its revenue target for 2020-2021 by $104 million, and the approximately $1 billion estimated deficit for 2021-2022 shows that the economy is expected to continue to struggle despite the government's announcements. The announcements of upgrades to healthcare infrastructure after 4 wasted years and vulnerabilities exposed by the pandemic shows that the F&M government is reactive and disconnected from the plight of the masses. We welcome initiatives that provide relief to our people and create opportunities. However, Bahamians can see through the election ploy to grant concessions, provide temporary tax breaks, private sector employment incentives, and employ few persons to gain political support.
Mrs. Komolafe says it's clear that the Minnis-led administration has deferred its fiscal measures until the general elections have been held and has chosen to continue its borrowing approach. She says the government has delayed the inevitable and placed the burden of this sinking debt on the shoulders of future generations of the Bahamas. Shifting gears, police are investigating a homicide on Abaco this morning. We're told that police received a report of a traffic accident in the area of Tamarind Drive, Dundas Town, Abaco. Officers responded to the scene and discovered a light green Suzuki Swift vehicle in front of a green-colored residence. Upon further inspection, officers discovered gunshot holes in the driver door window and the body of a lifeless male in the driver's seat with suspected gunshot injuries about the body. EMS responded and pronounced the man dead. Investigations continue. Stay with us. Our final story is up next.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.